I'm called crazy quite often. A lot of people that don't even know me, that don't know that I go by schizophrenic, they call me crazy. And I ask them, what about my behaviour is it that demonstrates my insanity, that demonstrates my lack of mental health? And they say things like, because I don't believe the same things that they do. And I say, that makes me crazy, does it? But you don't believe the same things that I do. And from my point of view, you look crazy as well. They don't really hear me when I say that. Not really sure why. It seems very logical and clear to me. Seems like there's lots of people in this world that have faith in blinders. That if you're able to ignore something about reality, it does not exist in your reality. I was very good at this when I was religious. I wanted the Christian myth to be true, and so in my mind it was. I wanted the Old Testament to be reality instead of mythology, and in my mind it was. And every piece of the universe that contradicted it was put in a special place in my brain that I could not see, that I hid from myself. And we, of course, believe all of our lies. We know exactly how to lie to ourselves, and we believe it every time. Every time we're so good at lying to ourselves. We need someone external to us that we can trust to tell us when we're crazy. You can't trust Christ to be that because he calls you crazy always. He says you're evil and crazy and the devil, and that only he is good. You need a spouse, a friend, to tell you when you're wrong. And if you don't have that, you're wrong. A lot. Tomorrow is my anniversary. I don't know if you care at all about this, but I will have been married 16 years tomorrow. That's 2 8s, which is of course a holy number, as taught to us by Sir Terry Pratchett. It's a big milestone for me in that she's not left me for 16 years. That's very good. I feel really proud about that. And, you know, I get to be more and more myself, and so does she. I'll tell you the secret. I'll tell you what we did. We prioritized each other, right, over everything else. We said that we would be us against the world, and then we realized that that meant Jesus as well. Jesus wanted to be a third member of our marriage. When I was married, though, the religion I belonged to taught that a marriage is not between two people, it's actually between 3 people. Between a husband and a wife and God. There's a third person in the marriage of my family. My parents had a third person. My brothers and sisters have a marriage of 3. And now just ask yourself, if you had to choose between your wife and your God, who would you choose every single time? But that's not what marriage is. It never has been. Marriage is older than your God. Marriage is older than Christ. Marriage is older than Zeus. We married each other before we could speak. Before we could worship a God, we had marriage. A marriage is between 2 people and no one else. God has no part in it. 2 people working together in love. But God is the wedge that your tribe uses to work their way into your marriage, to put themselves between you and your spouse. Get God out of your relationships, ladies and gentlemen. It is you and your spouse against the world. Jesus Christ wants control of your relationship. He wants to tell you how to live it. He wants to break you up. If you don't believe me, read his words. He says, every family will fight in my name if you hate not your father or your mother, your brothers and sisters, and even yourself. You cannot be my disciple. Christ tells you he is sabotaging your relationship so that you love him more than you love your spouse. Well, that is not marriage. It never has been. Marriage is a promise between two people that they will love each other for as long as they can. There are people that I know who have 3 people in their marriage, a man, a wife, and God. And guess who the wife loves more? Her husband or God? If she was to pick, who would she pick? You can't pick a mortal if your other husband's immortal. You'll always pick that imaginary Christ. He will always come between a husband and a wife. He has promised it in his scripture. The self-proclaimed Apostle Paul said that a man should subjugate himself to Christ in the same way that a woman should subjugate herself to her husband. As if he was perfect, which he's not. He's just a person. Why would she treat him like deity?